Hey guys, Far here. Basically, I came across a pretty cool site the other day, and I thought I'd give it a build. It's called Dusk, which is a free frame and portfolio template. It's built by a dev called Matt. Matt has some pretty cool sites, and his site is pretty cool also, actually. So I recommend checking him out. This is my first YouTube video. Please don't judge me. Any constructive criticism, say that twice, is welcome. If you want to see any new videos or any particular type of videos, please kind of let me know. Even if you have like a site in mind that you're like, oh, hey, I wonder how this is built. Yeah, that would be a nice challenge for me as well. But yeah, let's check out the site. As you can see here, there is a light mode and a dark mode. Today I'm going to look at the dark mode, and that's the one I'm going to build. As you can see, it's got a very minimal landing. There's some project cards. There's a footer with some social links also. There's a projects page, and I think that's got the full list of projects. Yeah, it does. And if I click on one of these, we can see like the single post, I guess, for the project. So we've got the title, we've got some meta, we've got the featured image, we've got some project info, and some more images. There's an about page, again, a featured image, an about me section, a services section, and a big CTA. If I click this, we go straight to the contact page. Again, some more details and a giant contact form. This is a very basic site, but I like it. It's very minimal, and because of that, it's kind of suitable for a lot of people. So this is definitely a site to take inspiration from. So now let's jump into WordPress and let's give this a build. Hey guys, so we're in WordPress right now. First of all, I do have the Bricks theme installed and activated. I do also have the Bricks child theme installed. If you do want to get a copy of the child theme, it's from the bricksbuilder admin dashboard, so you can download it and then upload it via here. Secondly, in terms of plugins, I do have ACF Pro installed. I'll be honest, I'm not going to be using the Pro features, although it probably does come in handy, to be honest. So yeah, I could have used ACF free. I could have used Pods, which is also free. There's ACPT, which is paid, but the pricing is pretty good. And I believe Jetpack as well. So that's ACF. In terms of caching, I do have a speed optimizer plugin installed. This is just to kind of purge any server-side cache that may be lingering around. So that is here as well. In terms of bricks, I don't have anything set up at the moment, so I'm just going to quickly set this up. You don't have to follow these steps, but this is kind of how I do it. I do enable SVG uploads for admins, and I do disable SEO options. Going to enable some of these and disable a few others. That's all okay. In terms of builder access, that's fine. Templates, I'll disable default templates. I'm not going to be using any sort of third-party CSS framework, so there's no remote templates here either. For the builder, I do like the toolbar logo link to go to the dashboard in a new tab. I'll disable element spacing. I'll enable these. And the rest is okay. For performance, I'll disable pretty much everything. I do have a custom font installed, which I will show you in a sec. Maintenance is fine. API keys is fine. And custom code I'll enable for admins, and I'll save. Perfect. In terms of custom fonts, I do have the famous Inter font installed. I do have it in a few weights. I probably won't use all, to be honest, but it's there anyways, just in case. Also, just to let you know, just to save a bit of time, I have downloaded and pre-optimized some images. So basically, I used a tool called TinyPNG, which is this one. I just uploaded the images, and it basically optimized the images. It makes them a bit smaller without being able to, well, without losing any kind of real quality. And I've just uploaded them into Bricks. Just to let you know, sorry, WordPress. Just to let you know, I don't have any alternative text or proper titles here. I do recommend you do use this if you are, uploading any sort of images. I'm not going to do it for now, just for the sake of this video. But yeah, let's now get to the next part. I guess the next important thing is collections. So I'm going to kind of organize the data on this site. So I'm going to have like a projects collection or a custom post type. And then I'm also going to have a service collection or custom post type. So yeah, let's do that now. So I'm going to go to WordPress, ACF, post types, add new, and the first one I will call, actually, no, let's do projects first. So projects, project, I'll make this plural. And I'm going to disable the editor for projects because I'm going to have custom fields. For visibility, I'll just do this little box icon, I guess. And I am going to have custom tags, so I'll add a taxonomy. I'll call it project tags. Very, very, creative. Project tag, that's fine. I'll attach it to projects, and that's it. To be honest, I won't really change anything else here. In terms of the fields, I'll add a new field. I'll call it project details, I guess. We'll have a text area, and it's going to be these fields, so scope, process, and solution. So scope, oops, process, and solution. And I'll attach it to project, save changes, and that's it. So now if I go to projects, I can add a new project, and it's all of these fields are available to me. I'll quickly fill this in, and then I'll do services. So if I go to projects, I'll start from the bottom, and then I'll work my way up. So I'll do this one first. I might close that. This image as well. So I have that here. Just this one. Cool. So that's all of the projects. If there was a new project, I'll just click add new to add a new project. And now let's do services. So I'll go to ACF, post type, add new, services, services. I'll leave all of this as it is because I'm not going to really change anything. And I'll put like this icon, I guess, for services. I don't need to add a custom field. And again, I'm going to start from the bottom and I'll work my way up from the services list. So the first one will be research and testing. I could put a separate kind of field for services, a custom field, but I'm not. I'm just going to put it in, and then I can query the post content. Cool. So that's all the services. So if there was a new service, again, I can just click add new service, and that's it. And my front end should update automatically. So that's collections done. As I mentioned before, I'm not going to be using any CSS frameworks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some CSS variables. This is just to help me make the site a bit more consistent. And if in the future I do make some sort of theme, I can get the CSS variables to kind of toggle based on the selected theme. So let's do that. So first of all, I'm just going to go into the home page and go into the builder. I believe I ran into an error. Yes, I did. So what I'm going to quickly do is go to reading. And I'm going to set the home page, and then this should hopefully actually bypass that error. Yay. So I'll go to the class manager variables. You can ignore these dummy ones. I'll create a new category. I'll call it, let's do typography first. So let's call it typography. Sweet. And now let's do font sizes. So I'll do FS body for body, and I believe it's 16 pixels. So if I have a quick look, yes, it is. So I'll do 1.6 rem. And then next I'll do font size H1. For the H1, there's two types of styles. There's this here, I guess, and then this hero style. I'll add this separately as a hero style. So this I'll keep as like the default H1. So that's 48 pixels on desktop. Does it change size? I believe it does. And 32. So what I'm going to use is CSS clamp. So I actually have a tool which helps me kind of create the CSS for it. It's called Fluid Responsive Font Size Calculator by Web Semantics. All I need to do is have rem selected, select my viewports. I'll have 480 pixels to 768 pixels, or in this case, divided by 10 for rems, because of my setup. And I'll just pop in the values for the fonts, and then hopefully it should fluidly change between those viewports. So we've got 32 pixels here, so that's 3.2. And then we've got 48 here, so that's 4.8. I've got clamp selected. And I'll paste this here. Perfect. And I'll do the exact same thing for the H2. So I'll say font size H2. And I'll look for a H2. I'm not going to use that actually for H2. I'll use this, which is the next smallest, I guess. So it's 32 pixels. So I'll put 3.2 here. And then in mobile, it is 24. So that's 2.4 here. I'll copy this and I'll paste that here. Perfect. Now let's do H3. I'll use these. So that's 18 pixels. That's 1.8 here. I believe this is going to be 2.4, but let's check it out anyways. Yeah, it's 2.4, so that's cool. Perfect. So then that's the body, H1, H2, H3. We need to do the hero. So let's grab that. So that's 64 pixels. And that's 4 rem. Perfect. We also have links because there are some random links in the website like this, which is 2 rem. That's 2 rem also. I wonder if it changes. So let's check those out. They do change. So it goes from 2 rem to 1.6. So we'll go 2 to 1.6. And then we'll call it font size links. Perfect. So that's the font size is done. I can get rid of this dummy one now. What else? Let's group it all. So I can actually select everything and then drag it into typography. So now it's kind of categorized, which is quite nice. The next thing I'll do is line height. So the first thing I'll do is line height body. If I go to, let's go to about page. And then let's check out the line height. So that's 26/16, which is 1.625. So I'll add that here. The next one is going to be headings. So I'm going to do the same line height across all headings. So let's use this. So that's 58/48, which is 1.21. Perfect. And then we've got the line height of the hero is slightly different actually to everything else. So let's do that. So that's 74/64. So that's 1.16. Perfect. So that's line height's done. There is a bit of letter spacing in the heading, so let's do that as well. So I'll call it letter spacing headings. And if I select this, I believe it's here. There we go. So let's use this, and I'll put 0 here just because I'm a bit extra. There we go. So that's the letter spacing is done. What else? What else? Let's do colors now. In terms of colors, we're going to have color body. And let's go and find the body, which is here. And I'll just put the hex value in for now, but you might want to use HSL. And then we've got color headings. I believe these are all just plain white. Yes, they are. Cool. So I'll do FFF. Headings are done. We've got color links. They are white. So they're down here and up here. Perfect. We also need to do the color of the background. So color BG. And it's just straight black. Cool. We also, I guess, have an alternative color to the background. I guess technically speaking, it's white. So it's these white colors. Just in case I did want to control it. If there was some sort of theming, I guess it's good to have. So I'll do color BG alt, and it's white. And I guess this counts as an accent. So I'll find out what color this is. So then I'll do color BG accent. I actually want these as modifiers, so I'll do that. There we go. What else? Next, let's do spacing. Spacing is going to be a bit of a weird one because there's massive section spaces, as you can see here, and there's massive row spacings as well, pretty much throughout the site. Whoops, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, they're massive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a gap of row. It's going to be a bit of a weird one. And I'll probably change it up, but for now I'll do a gap of row, clamp, let's say 8VH, 8VH, and then let's say 12VH. And then I'll also add a gap of section, and I'll make this slightly bigger. So I'll say clamp, and I'll say 12VH, 12VH, let's go 15. Also, there are spacings throughout the site that I want to keep a bit consistent. So, for example, here in the grid, that's 40 pixels. The spacing here, that's 24 pixels. That's 40 pixels. And that's 32 pixels. Cool. So that's, we'll go in like steps of 8. So I'll go gap S. And also 0.8 rem. I could use calcs and scalars to do the next ones, but I won't. I'll just hard code these. Let's do 2.4 rem, and then we'll do gap XL, and that was 3.2 rem, and then we got gap 2XL, and that was 4 rem. Perfect. So that's gaps done. Next, let's add border radius. There we go. I believe it's 8 pixels. For example, this button here, or this kind of fake button. Yeah, border radius 8 pixels. Border radius inherit. So let's find this. Yeah, it's 8 pixels, and I believe the cards are also 8 pixels. Yeah, it's 8 pixels. So let's do that then. So I'll say border radius, and then I'll say small, and then we'll just say 0.8 rem, just to keep it consistent with the spacing naming convention. I think we might have smaller border radiuses for these I'll do an extra small just in case, and I'll do something like 0.6 rem. Cool. So that's border radius done. Next, I'll do widths. For the widths, I'll have the max width of small, and that's 480 pixels. These I'll do in pixels. And then we've got a max width of medium, and I'll do 768 pixel. And then we've got max width of large, and I'll do, I believe it's 1400 pixels here, but I might make it a bit smaller, to be honest. Yeah, it's 1400. So I'll do 1272 pixels. Cool. And that's it. That's the CSS variables done. I'm probably going to come back and add to this and modify some of these. But yeah, for now, that's it. So I'm going to click save, and I'll click save in the builder as well, so they save everywhere. And that's it. So now we can edit the theme styles, settings, theme styles, and we'll create a global style. Perfect. Conditions, it's applied everywhere in the entire site. Next, we need to go to general, site background, colors, and I'm going to select color BG. Cool. For typography, let's start off up here. We'll go body. The color is color body. Great naming. And then for font size, we'll say, font size body. Perfect. Font family is going to be Inter, which is our custom font. And font weight's fine. Line height, it's line height body. So we know it's this. Perfect. For headings, we've got a generic catch-all color of color headings. Font sizes, they're going to be different. Font weights, we know are 500, or at least I think they're 500. Let's have a quick look. So I'll click this. Yep, that's 500 there. If I go to here and I check these, yep, 500, 500, cool. So yeah, that's 500, that's fine. Line height, we know that's line height headings. And then letter spacing, we know that's letter spacing headings. For H1, we've got a font size of H1. For H2, we've got a font size of H2. For H3, we've got a font size of H3. So that's that pretty much done. For section, let's add some padding to the top. So we're going to say, let's do gap. And on top, actually, on top is going to be a bit different. I'm actually going to add a gap of row on top. And then on the bottom, I'm going to add a gap of section. And you'll see why in a sec. But yeah, for now, I'm going to have a little bit less on top and then more at the bottom. And then in terms of container, the width is actually going to be 100%, but we have a max width of var max width, and let's do large. Perfect. In terms of the row gap, that's where we'll add var gap row. Perfect. And then for the padding, we'll do var gap. Let's do L. And then we'll have that everywhere, so the content doesn't touch the edge of the screen. So that's pretty much it in terms of the container. I'll actually leave the rest as it is for now. I might come back later on and edit the button. But for now, this is kind of the majority of the styling's done. So we can actually get to building. So now let's actually build out the homepage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a container. And then within this, I'm going to add two elements. So I'll add the heading, and that's going to be a H1. And the heading content is going to be this. Perfect. And I will also add a div, and this is going to be the grid for the project cards. So I'll call this project grid. Oops. There we go. I'll set the width to 100%. I'll modify the heading tag in a sec. The heading, sorry, in a sec. This will be a project grid. Now, technically speaking, this is actually a list of project details. So I guess I'll actually make this an unordered list, and I'll call it project grid. And then within the list, we're going to have a bunch of LIs or cards. So I'll have this is going to be card, and technically it's going to be an LI. And this is going to be what's going to be queried in the query loop for projects. And we're going to only have 4 items on the homepage, as we can see here. Cool. And now within this, we're going to actually have a few things. First of all, I'm going to have a wrapper for the image. I'll just put in a figure tag for now. And within this, I'll have an image. And oops, actually, we'll do it dynamically. So that's featured image. And also within this, we're also going to have an SVG icon for the little hover. So we'll have this. And then we're also going to have a heading, I guess, within this. So that will be a H2. And we're going to have post title. There we go. Link to and the dynamic data post title link, or sorry, post link, which is fine. What else? We also need to have the tags. So we need to have the tags. So I will put a text element. We actually just want the text. We don't actually want the like the link to it. So I'll actually put plain. And I'll just rename this as well, just for clarity. Cool. So now let's actually check out the page. Okay, cool. So a few things. So first of all, I'm just going to quickly make that center aligned. So I'll actually say, I'll just put H1 for now. And I'll put typography and I'll center align it. There we go. There is actually a max width, I think. This is what, 1080 pixels? Yeah, it is. So I'm actually going to change this from H1 to hero. And then I will say max width 1080 pixels. And then I'll make sure it's all center aligned. So I'll just put auto. And that's that done. Cool. Back to the project. Let's get rid of the list styles. So I'll do R list style none. Perfect. We do have some default spacings. So let's get rid of those. Perfect. And now we're going to actually let's get rid of the default spacing here as well. So that's project figure. So that's onset. I could reset all of this with a CSS reset, but I'll just do it through the builder for now. So that's a figure. That's a picture. Yeah, let's do picture. And now let's do project thumbnail. So that way I can set the width to 100%, the max width to 100%, and the height to auto. Brick sometimes is a bit weird. Some of the images sometimes they overflow. There's all sorts of issues. So I found that this helps. Cool. And then let's quickly get everything looking like an actual grid. So let's just say display grid. We'll say gap of, we'll say var gap of 4 rem, so that's 2xl. And let's actually, do you know what? Let's not use media queries for this one. So let's just say repeat auto fit. Let's do 39 rem, sorry, min max. And then let's do 39 rem 1FR. Oh, that might actually be perfect. So what that means is on desktop, you'll have two columns, and then at some point you'll have one column. And the minimum size of the cards are going to be 390 pixels, which I'm actually okay with. I could make this smaller, I guess. But then we'll have more cards, and I want to. So let's have a quick play about with this. Okay, 39 rem it is, which is fine. I'm actually quite happy with this. Cool. Now let's add a quick border radius to the figure. So go here, border radius, and we say var br, and we want this. And then we want to hide the overflow so we can actually see the border radius. Whilst we're at it, let's make the position relative so we can move the SVG around. I'll work on the SVG in a sec. I want to first make the card clickable. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that the link does have post URL, which it does. Now let's write some custom CSS. So basically, I want the H2A before to take the full size of the card. So let's say content is this. And then we say inset of 0. Cool. Let me just double check. I did make that H2. Yeah, that's fine. So now, can I click on it? I can't click on it just yet. Why can I not click on it? H2A. Oh, it's because I didn't do position absolute, obviously. That's my bad. Position absolute. There we go. So now I should be able to click on the whole card, which I can. The only thing is I didn't make the actual full card relative, which is why I can click on the whole page. So let's quickly make the main card. So I'll call this project card, and I'll put this as position relative. So that should now allow me to click on the card. See, there you go. So as you can see, when I hover away from the card, we don't get that kind of hover link click animation. Cool. What else? I just realized the border radius in the bottom of that is not applying. So let's double check that really quickly. Oh, that's interesting. All right, it's because of the SVG. So yeah, so now let's sort that out. So let's just say project icon, layout, position absolute, and then we'll say right var gap, and then we'll say large, just to have it consistent. From the bottom, we'll have it there as well. It's there. We'll quickly make the size 4M. I could use variables, but I won't for now. And I quickly want to make this, let's try var gap. Let's do S, see how that looks. And let's set a background. And I actually want this to be that kind of alt background. So BG alt. I think that looks pretty cool. Border radius. And I think this is going to be the smaller one, to be honest. Actually, that works. And I think that's a bit too much. So let's do XS. Yeah, that looks way better. Yeah, I think that looks way better. There is an issue here with the kind of thumbnail, but you know what? I actually like the general position on all of these. I'm going to leave it for now. So let's get it hidden. To get it hidden, I'm going to actually set the transform to, let's just say, 1000 pixels. And if we go back to project grid here, what I want to say is if a project card, and then we'll say has, and then we want to say if it has a H2 link, which has a hover on it, then we want its corresponding project icon to have a transform of unset. So let's reset the transform properties. And then actually, let's also do a transition of, let's do all for now, to 0.2 second, ease out, sorry, ease out. And I'll copy this and the SVG icon, I'll add that here. And I'll do ease in. So let's test that out. Oh, that looks awesome. I also want to set the opacity. So let's do that really quickly. If I go layout and I do opacity, let's do 0. But once there is a hover, sorry, it's here. So once there is a hover, let's do an opacity of 1. It's going to be very, very subtle. Yeah, that looks way better. Perfect. Let's quickly add some spacings around here. So then let's just say, we'll call this project heading. I'm not going to use CSS grid because we've got 3 separate elements and I want the spacings to be different on all 3 elements. So let's go to the heading and then we'll add a margin top of our gap and let's just say large. And then the tags, let's say project tags. We'll say var gap of small. And there we go. I think that looks pretty awesome. The other thing is the heading size needs to actually be smaller. So even though it's a heading 2, I actually want it to be a heading 3 size. So I can actually go to typography and I can select font size 3. And that should do it. There we go. And I think that looks pretty awesome. So that's the home page done. So let's now do the projects page. The projects page is essentially going to be the exact same thing, copied directly from here, except I'm going to increase the number of cards. I'll probably set the main heading to be left aligned. So let's do that now. So I'll actually duplicate the page, open pages, add new page. Let's do projects. And this could be an archive page, an archive template, but I'm just going to do a standard project page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually copy all of this and then I'll paste it in here and I'll quickly change, let's go to projects really quickly and I'll change the heading. I'm actually going to get rid of this class and that should actually sort out for me, which it has actually, which is quite cool. Let's go here and then let's set the query to, let's actually remove the limit. And that's it, to be honest, that should work. Sorry, let me go to preview the page, projects preview. And that's it. We've actually got everything working, which is quite cool. There is a slow animation here, but you know what? I actually like it the way I have. Now let's actually make the project single post. So let's close this. I'll go to bricks, template, add new. I'll call it single, and then I'll call it project. I'll call it single, publish, edit with bricks. To be honest, it's going to look very similar again. Should I paste? Actually, no, I won't paste. Let's add a section. Within there, let's add a heading. The heading is going to be a H1 and it's going to be post title. And then underneath that, we're going to add a, actually we might have to wrap it in in a div just to get this a bit closer. So which is what I'll do now. Add a div. I'll just say project. I'll call it project title. And then within this, I'll also add the tags. And I believe they're links. Oh, they're not links. Ah, even better. And I'll strip out the URL. And then I'll make these p tags and I'll call this project title, which already is. Oh, that's good. Flex, column, row gap, var. Let's say M. Can I preview it? Okay, not yet. Let's quickly apply this. Conditions, add condition. Let's do post type equals projects. And I think that should work. So now if I go to projects and I click on one of these, here we go. The spacing is actually pretty good. So I'll leave that as is for now. Next, I'm going to add a massive featured image. Image. Oh, sorry, I did it a few times. Let's add that out here. Let's put that there. And this is going to be featured image. And then after featured image, we'll have this sort of grid section. And I'll call this project detail grid. So I'll just call this project details. Cool. So now within this, it looks like it's going to be 1FR, 2FR. I could use clamps. I can use min maxes. I could use flexbox actually as well. But I'm going to keep it really, really simple. And I'll use grid. So let's do display grid, and let's do a quick width of 100%. Perfect. I'll do var gap of 2XL. Let's keep it all consistent. And then let's do 1FR and then 2FR. So on the left, we'll have the heading. So we'll put a heading tag here. I'll call it project info as it is here. And then we'll add a div for the next area here. And let's do heading, and that'll be a H3. To be honest, we could put in a rich text, but it's fine. I think this should be okay. And then it's called scope. And then within that, we'll add a text underneath that, and then we'll put, oh, actually, I've done that wrong. I need to put scope here, and that's just going to be scope. Scope. And then this is going to be process. Cool. And then I'll duplicate this. And this is going to be process. And then I'll duplicate this again. And it's going to be solution. Solution. And then here I'll do project details. And then I'll just do, let's do inner. Yeah, let's do inner. And then I'll just do a quick display of flex going down with a row gap of var gap of, let's just do small. Okay, so it's not too bad. But what I want to do is I want to increase the gap. Actually, they all look consistent, to be honest, and it looks massive. So I think it's medium. There we go. That's pretty good, actually. The next thing is we need to make this responsive. So let's just say at 768 pixels. I am going to use media queries now. So since I'm going to use media queries, and I think I'm going to use it in another place, I'll actually add it in the theme. So what we need to do is we need to actually come to the style sheet in our child theme, and we need to write at media max width, and then we'll say 768 pixels, and then we'll say dot project details, and then we'll say grid template columns, and we'll say 1FR. Now, if I'm right, this actually won't work. So if I refresh this and then let's make it smaller, as you can see, it's actually not, the widths aren't going to 1FR. And the reason being is by default, Bricks actually loads its style sheets with a priority of 12, I believe. So we need to use 13 in our child theme. So if I refresh the page now, as you can see, it's worked. There we go. That's quite cool. So that's that. Oh, one thing I've noticed is the border radius on the thumbnail or the featured image. So let's come here quickly. Let's say project. We'll say featured image, and then we'll say border radius. Oops, sorry, wrong one. We'll say var, and it's small, and then it's everywhere. And that's it. So we got the title, we've got the tag, we've got the image, we've got the project info, which is responsive as well. One thing is the project image, I might need to actually set this to 100%, max width, and auto. Again, Bricks is a bit weird sometimes. The images don't load at the right resolution and the right size, and there's overflow issues. So this, what I found, does help. And that's the project details. As I mentioned, there are more images down here, which I'm not going to add, but I could have done that easily with a image gallery or like a repeater element with images. But yeah, it's exactly the same thing. So that's the project single post done. Next thing to do is the about page. It's going to be quite similar. So now let's go to pages, add new. Let's do about. Add it with bricks. So we'll add a section. Within the container, we'll add a heading. And that will be a H1. And let's do this. Perfect. Let's add a featured image. So let's do image. Select image. We'll add this. I'm actually going to reuse that featured image, but I'm going to rename this to featured image actually. So that way the border radiuses and everything and the widths kind of apply automatically, which is quite nice. So that's done. Next thing to do is need to add another grid. Again, it's going to work quite similar to before. I'll do 1FR, 2FR, and I'll update the media query as well. Down here, I might do this slightly different. But yeah, let's do this. So then let's add a div, and then we'll call this about grid. Now I'm thinking we have 3 areas that are 1FR, 2FR. I could potentially reuse the same classes. So I'm thinking I might actually do that. So instead of about grid, and I'll get rid of that, I'm going to add project details. And I'll rename this to Let's call it, we'll call it 1, 2. Actually, we'll call it grid 1, 2. And you'll see why in a sec. So what I'm going to quickly do is rename this to grid 1, 2. Oops, grid 1, 2. So that's done. Here I'm going to now add a heading, and that's going to be a H2. Heading is about me. Plain text. Let's do some text, and now that's going to be this text here. I think I might need to add some break tags. Yeah, I do. That's cool. I think that might have fixed it actually. So if I go here and I view the page, yep, it's done it. I'm going to add, basically I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'll replace it for services. But within here, instead of this, I'll actually add a services card. I'll call this services card. It's actually going to be a services. I'll use a grid, so I'll call the services grid. Technically, this is going to be another unordered list. So let's do unordered list. Let's do the name as well. So services grid is an unordered list. I'm going to display grid. Let's do var get of 2xl. I'll sort this out in a sec. Let's drop in some data. So let's drop in this. So this is going to be the services card, which is also going to be an li. And now within this, we're going to have the heading, and then we're also going to have the text. So for heading, it's going to be a H3, which is correct. Post title. We actually didn't use text. We used the post content to fill in services. So I'm going to actually drop in post content, and that should be okay. And now let's set this up as query loop, post, and services. Perfect. Within this, let's get rid of the list styles. So list style none. And then I need to reset the spacing. So that's unset, unset, unset. Now let's control the way this looks. So we'll say repeat, auto fit, and we'll say min max. Let's start with 20 rem and we'll go 1 FR. And I'll slowly increase this. I think that looks good, to be honest. And let's check it out really quickly. So now, if I change the sizing, that should break into into one line. And then everything else at some point should break into 2 lines. Why does this not break yet? Let's find out. It looks like, it's because I wrote this differently. I wrote it as grid 1, 2. Sorry, that's on me. So if I do that, I'll purge, and I'll refresh the page. There we go. So then that's going to 2 lines. That looks good. Perfect. Now let's just update the spacing here. So let's do, let's see this one here, and then we'll say services card, and we'll say display flex. And then we'll say var gap of, let's do medium. Is that right? Let's find out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that's the services section done. Let's now add the CTA, which is down here. I know the spacings are slightly smaller. For now, I'll just leave this as is. So now let's add the CTA. So it's going to be its own container. Oh, sorry, that's gone into here. Sorry. I'll just call it CTA. And then, we'll add a heading. And technically, this is going to be a H2. And it's going to say this, but we're going to style this like the hero. So I'll put a class of hero. Whoops. And let's change the typography to font size hero. And then within this, let's add a button. Technically, it's going to be a link. It's not actually a button. And then let's quickly align all of this. So we'll say CTA, display flex. We'll go center, center, center. That's fine. There's quite a big gap here. So we'll say it's var gap of, let's do medium. That looks cool. And it says reach out. So let's do that now. So it says reach out, and that's primary. Let's actually style the default theme of the button. So we'll go here, themes, button, and then we'll go primary. And then let's work out what the sizings are, or the stylings actually. So it's 2rem and 3.2. Cool. So let's go close that. Let's do primary, which is, I think technically it's default. Is it default? I believe, actually, I think it's default. Yeah, it's default. So go back here, we'll go button, and then we'll say size default. Var gap of medium. I know it's 2rem, but I'm going to try to use these just to see if I can make it look nice. It's not bad, to be honest. And then the font is fine. The background, we'll do the alt color. So background color. And then we'll say BG alt. Is there a border radius? There is. So let's do a border radius as well. This is going to link to the contact page, but for now, I'll just leave it as it is, and I'll link it up in a sec. I might actually increase the spacing just a little bit. So if I go back here and I do large, I might actually have to do it. Yeah, I might have to go bigger actually. Let's go extra large. All right, that looks way better. Okay, cool. And yeah, so that's the about page done. I'll go back and update the kind of spacings later on just to kind of neaten it up a bit. But yeah, so let's now do the contact page. So let's create a new page and we'll call it contact. And we'll publish. So now let's go edit. So this is going to be quite similar. What I'm thinking is I might actually have this information and actually the footer links, social links, be controlled in an options page. So I might actually do that first. Go to ACF and I'll go to option pages, add new, and I'll call it global fields. That's fine. And I'll make this, let's give this icon, let's give it a position of 1, and it should end up there. Let's add some fields. So we'll say global fields. And then the first thing is going to be let's do, actually, let's do tabs since we can do tabs in ACF. So I'll do a tab. I think I do it this way, and I call it contact, and then add field, and then it's going to be, I'll do text fields for these, to be honest. I'll do text, text, text. So I'll say, sorry, what's the first one? It's number. That's fine. I'll add another one, and then it's going to be email. I'll add another one, and that's going to be address. That's fine. And then I will add a tab, and I'll call it social. And then I'll call it, let's add URLs actually. Let's do dribble. And then let's do URL. Let's do Twitter. And then let's do Instagram. And then let's link that to options pages. So it's down here. Global field is selected already, and save. So now if I come here, as you can see, we've got these really cool tabs. I have no idea. Oh, I think it's when I was messing around earlier on. That's how these got updated. That's quite scary. So let's now update this, and I'll put in the same info. And then for social, I'll just do, actually, no, I'll do the actual pages just so. Let's do this. And then I'll do twitter.com, and then we'll do instagram.com. Obviously, actually put in the profile URLs, but that's it. That's the option page is done. So now if we go back to pages and we go to contact, now I'm going to set all of this up. So let's do a section. And let's add a heading, and this will be a H1. And we'll copy this. Oh, sorry, not there. And then within this, we're now going to add, again, that grid. So now let's do div, and then I think it was called grid 1, 2. And then on the left, we're going to actually add 2 divs. So that way we can control everything. So we got the contact details, and then we've got the contact form. I'll just do it like this, actually. Details. Cool. I'll call this contact details. Within there, I'll add these headings. So I guess technically there will be a H2. I mean, not necessarily, but I'll just put H2s for now. And I'll say contact heading, and I'll make these not look like headings. So I'll do far fs body, and then we'll say the color is the body color as well. So we say color body. Letter spacing, or unset this, and the rest is fine as it is. So that's that. So now we need to add the mobile number. So we'll add text. We'll say number. And I'll call this contact detail. And then I'll make this look like an actual heading. So I'll say this is, that will actually say H3. We'll also give it the heading color. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then we'll give it the heading line height as well. So we'll say line height headings. Cool. And now I'll duplicate this, and then this should be email. Here we go. Yep. What else? And then we should be address. So I should say address. So that's a number. Technically, it shouldn't be a p tag, I think, but I'll do p tags. I guess a span tag would be better. And this would be address. Cool. So now let's check it out. That looks pretty cool, actually. This is because of the default. This is because of some default stylings. It's because of this. But that's fine. We can override this. So I'll quickly say, sorry, let me just see where it's coming from here. So it's all of the p tags. It's got a margin bottom. I will unset those. So then what I'll do is I'll say root, and I'll say p plus p, and I'll say margin bottom unset. Actually, I want to do it on all of them. So I won't even do the adjacent selector. I'll just do this. To be honest, I can actually directly do it this way. It's probably better. That's fine. And then I'll add some margin on the headings itself. So I'll say var gap of, let's do medium. Let's see what that looks like. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. So now I want to actually add some spacing on this one. So that is contact heading number 2 though. So what I'll do is I'll go here. And then I'll say root, and then I'll say dot contact heading nth of type 2, and I'll say margin top, and I'll say var gap of large. There we go. So that looks pretty cool. To be honest, I could have probably could I have selected? I could have done as flexbox and then added the spaces, but you know what? I think that looks good enough as it is. So now what I'll do is I'll add the contact form. Here we go. So I'll actually add the form itself. Do I need to have? I actually don't need to have another div for the form because it could take the, yeah, so this is fine actually. And now I'll just do form. Let's see what fields are there. Full name, email, and message. We'll call it full name. Full name, email, and message. Cool. What's it called? Full name, email, and message. Ideally, they should all be required. So required. Yeah. And required. Cool. What else? I will unset this. In terms of the padding, I believe it's the 1.6 rem or 1.2 rem. It's just 2.4. Okay, so we do have a variable for that. So we can say var gap of large. We can put that everywhere. I personally think that's massive, to be honest. So maybe I might actually, I'm thinking, let's see actually. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, is that okay? All right, we'll work it out as we go along. First of all, we'll say that the width of this is Well, we need to work out what the spacing is, and then I can tell you what the width is. So what is the spacing? It's 24 pixels. Okay, cool. So we know that 24 pixels is our, here we go, gap large. All right, cool. So we can come here and we can say the width is calc of 50% less var gap of large divided by 2. And then I'll do the same thing to email as well. And that should bring it side by side. And then if I do, I need to actually add gap. And I think I need to do it up here. If I do a gap of large, there we go. So that's aligned this nicely. And now let's sort out the border radiuses. So if we come here, fields, border radius, small, that's cool. And the background color is that alt color that we selected, that we set, sorry. Whoops. So it's BG alt. Sorry, not alt, it's BG accent. So it's accent, that's cool. Border, I'll do none because I think there are none. Yeah. That's cool. In terms of the typography, I'll do links. Let's do color links. Do I want color links? Do I want these to be the same colors? Actually, I'll do the same colors headings actually. Actually, let's do links because I'll tell you why. It's because we're going to make the font size the same as links. Oops, sorry. If we go to typography, font size, and then we'll say var font size links. Cool. And now the button. So we want the button to be 100% width. And we want the typography to be the same as font size links. So var fs links. We need a font weight of 500. It's not bad actually. The button needs to say send message. Cool. So let's do that. So that's here. Send message. Now the button also needs to have a padding, the exact same padding as the field. So the field has padding of gap large. There is no way to actually set the padding. We've got a margin here. So what we need to do is we need to go here into custom CSS. We need to target the button, and then we need to say padding this. There we go. So that should fix the issue for us. And that's it, to be honest. We can make this a bit bigger. I'll be honest with you, I don't actually remember what the CSS is. Let's do CSS. So let's do HTML text area. Let's do length. Let's do text area rows. Here we go. I think that should be rows for, yeah, it should be rows. If I do 7, yeah, so it's the rows attribute. So if I come here and I go to attribute and I do rows, and let's just say I do 10, might be quite a lot actually. Why did that not work? I did rows. Oh, right, sorry. I need to do it specifically for that field. So if I go here, fields, message, row attribute, name, rows, and then the value is going to be, let's do 10. Does that work? I don't think so. That's a bit weird. That's a bit annoying. I use rows. Okay. So then can I say rows equals 10? Can I do it this way? No. I wonder if I can do it this way. That doesn't work either. I guess it's because it's just a name. Attribute autocomplete. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do this a bit differently. I might have to just set the height, and I'll just set it to 10 VH. Sorry, not 10 VH. Let's do 20 VH. 30 VH. I don't really want it too massive. I think 30 VH should be okay actually. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's close enough. But yeah, so that's the contact form done, and it should be responsive. We need to update this actually. So let's have a look what it looks like on mobile. Yeah, so they're full widths. So what I need to do is I need to say at a certain breakpoint, these widths, and these are the, so it's this and this. Okay, cool. So it's dot form group. We'll target that. So let's do it. So then if I go to our style sheet, we say max width this, and we say dot form group. Actually, we'll do it this way. We'll say nth child 1. And then we'll do this. And then we'll say form group 2. And then we'll say width of 100%. I think that should work. Why has that not worked? I think it's because that's styled on an ID level. Which is very, very annoying. So let's see if we can do it on a class level. So form, if I get rid of this and I press the form and then I add this, is it still done on an ID level? Let's see. Yeah, it's still done on an ID level. It's a bit annoying, but it's okay. It's not a bad thing to start on an ID level, I guess. There we go. So this, and then this, and hopefully, there we go. This works. It looks like the spacing on this is actually smaller. So maybe we want to go from large to small. We can use, do you know what? We've got the break media query. Let's just use the media query. So it's gone to 2rem. And that's all of these form groups. So we can do this. We can say this dot form group, dot form group, and then we'll just say padding var of gap, and we'll say medium. Sorry, not gap. No, it is gap. Sorry, it's not gap. It's the inputs. Here we go. There we are. All right. And then we need to do the same with the button as well, actually. So then we need to say this button. I'm not a big fan of using IDs, but sometimes you have to, and it's okay. And that's it. Cool. So that's responsive now. Perfect. So now let's make the header and footer, and then we should be done. So now to make the header, we're not actually going to use the WordPress menu builder. I'm actually going to build it myself. And the reason being is I actually don't want a hamburger icon on mobile. And you'll see what I mean in a sec. So let's do build. So now this is already wrapped in a header tag, so then we just want a container. And this is technically a nav, so I'll do a nav and I'll change the HTML tag to nav. And then we want an unordered list within this. So we want this to be a list. Whoops, we want this to be a list. And then within this, we want to have list items. So let's change this to an li. And then within this, we want to have links. And then the first one will do internal post page, and then we'll do projects. That's fine as it is. I'm not going to really change anything, and it's going to say projects. And let's quickly add some classes. Nav links, sorry, nav li, nav links, just in case we do need it. And then we'll say nav ul again, just in case we need it. Do we have any default spacings? We do in the nav. I can't remember where this is from. Where is the margin from? I think this might be in the nav tag. So what I'll do is I'll say nav, and I'll reset the margin. These are from the container, which is fine. For the list, I'll unset these. For the list item, there's no spacings, but I do want to get rid of the list style. So I'll do root list style none. Cool. Let me quickly change the color of these. So let's do color links. And then we also want the typography. We want the font size to be, font size links as well. Perfect. Now I'm going to duplicate these 3 times. So we got, what is that? Sorry, that's my one. Oh no, it's not. So we got project about contact. So we got project about, and then we got contact. There are only 3 pages, of course I should have known. And now I do want to have one for the logo as well, actually. So I'll duplicate this. I'll get rid of the link and I'll add an image. And I'll select this. And I will set the, actually I'll do it from here. I'll do nav logo. And I'll set the width to, let's do 4M. Sure. And then let's do display flex. Let's do width 100%. And then let's do space between, center. Actually, I don't want to do space between. I actually want to do a gap first. Far, not row gap. Let's do far gap, and let's do large. And then let's actually do that for the row as well. Let's enable wrapping just in case. But in the logo, well, for the logo wrapper, if I do auto, I'll push everything here to the right, which is quite cool. Let's add it to all of the pages. So template conditions, add condition, entire website. And I also want the logo to link to URL to the home page, internal post page, home. And let's check it out. Okay, so it's kind of getting there. Why is it not working? Let's have a look. It's because I set the margin. Okay, cool. That's on me. So if I go back here and I do this. There we go. And then I actually want to add, actually no, it's already got the spacing, that's fine. Do I want to do anything else? Is this actually center aligned? Because sometimes when you have a link, they don't get center aligned, and it looks like it is though, so I think it should be cool. Projects, about, contact. So it looks like it's working, which is quite cool. Now the question is, why is this one coming out different? Let's have a look. So that's got a padding top and a padding bottom. This one doesn't. Why does this one not? It's because we added a container, not a section. Of course I've done that. So let's quickly drop in a section. Here we go. And again, I think it might be the same thing here, to be honest. Of course it is. So let's quickly add a section. So now we've got, sorry, that's not ours. This is ours. So now we've got a header. We've got the heading. Yeah, we've got the project cards. We've got the project page. If I click on one of these, we've got the actual project details. I might actually increase the sizing here, to be honest. So what I might do is I might say project details, and then I might just say just a slight bottom margin of far gap, extra small. Yeah, let's do that. Project details. That one is fine without it. And let's have a look at this page. Projects. Yeah, that looks much better. In fact, I could actually increase it a bit more. I'll increase it a bit more. So let's make that medium. There we go. So for projects, yeah, let's space that a bit nicer. Perfect. If I go to about, with the about page, that's cool. Just want to double check the spacings. It's all consistent. I could potentially, yeah, do you know what? Actually, I'm gonna increase the spacing below this image specifically, and I'll use the bigger CSS variable. So I'll use gap section. Actually, no, I won't. It might be a bit too much. I'll do var gap row just to get a bit of spacing here. And on the CTA, I'll probably do the same thing up here. And let's have a look. Bit of space in here. This is much better here. I feel like I need to increase these spacings, to be honest. So do you know what I might do? And everywhere I've got the row gap, I might actually just increase it, to be honest. I might make it 12 VH. So let's do that really quickly. So section, the top is okay. That's okay. What I want is the actual flex gap, this one here. And I might just say section. If I put section, it might actually make it a bit better. Yeah, I think that's much better. Projects, and if I click one, there might be a massive gap now. So let me quickly get rid of the extra spacing underneath that class. Yeah, it's much better. That's a lot better. All right, cool, perfect. And that looks good as well. Cool. Now I'm going to add the footer. Add new. And then we'll do footer. Now the footer itself, technically it's not a nav, because this is social links, and then there's just, I guess, the footer copyright text or whatever. So I won't be putting a nav, but I will put a container. Within the container, I'll have some text, which will be this. I'll wrap this in an A tag. So we want a href. And then let's do a target equals underscore blank. There's nothing there anyways for now, but let's just do that. And then built in bricks. And then let's do, let's add a class actually, footer body, and then we can say footer body A, and then we can say color of var fs, sorry, color links. And I think that should be enough. We can even say font weight of 500. Cool. Next, we'll do the social links. So we'll do a div. I'll call it social links. Actually, technically social links. And then I'll add some links. Here we go. Now, I don't know if you remember, we actually made like a global field for social links. So we're going to tap into those. So I'm going to do dribble. Let's do dynamic data, and then I'll do dribble. Open a new tab. Perfect. And I'll put social. I'll just put link. And then this one will be Twitter. And then this one will be Instagram. Perfect. In terms of the social link itself, let's do typography. Let's do color. And then we'll do links. In terms of the spacings, let's do display flex, and then we'll add var gap of large, and then we'll do the same thing for row as well. We'll add a flex wrap, and in the container, we'll just say footer container. We'll say display flex in this direction, and we'll say space between. There we go. To be honest, I think that's fine. Actually, these are slightly bigger, so what I need to do is I need to say the font size is links. There we go. And technically it is 500, so I'll do 500. And I'll apply this to the whole site. So settings, template settings, conditions, and entire website. So now if I open up the home page, we should see in the footer, which is quite cool. And yeah, and now let me just see that it's responsive really quickly. Yeah, and it is. This spacing is a bit larger. Why? All right, it's not because of this. It's actually because of this. So what I need to do is I need to override the spacing in the footer container. I need to say var gap of, let's just say large. And I think that should do it. Oh yeah, much better. Perfect. And that's it. The website is done. Go. Blah, blah, blah. Twice. Why did I say it twice? Is what it is. Hey, go. Blah. Oh. Please tell me I press record. Oh, water break. Agua. Oh, no. Pre-frame a portfolio template. See that twice. Look at constructive criticism. Cool stuff or cool sites in Bricks just for fun, to be honest. Yeah, let's get to it.